Top Gun Maverick is a great film. That's kind of the gist of this review, and you can probably leave right here if you just want to know if it's good. But obviously I'll be getting into a few more details. I think that the first thing I want to say is that this movie is a lot better than than the original. You know, that might be a bit of a hot take for some older fans, I suppose, of these films. But honestly, for myself, I went back and I watched Top Gun Maverick at the cinema. I thought it was amazing for reasons we'll get into. And then I went and watched the original before watching it at the cinema again. And I thought the original was kind of average. It didn't really grip me, which is something that the Top Gun Maverick really does. So Top Gun Maverick, just getting into it, is... I think the first thing to note is that the action scenes are just incredible. They're filmed, I believe, in real planes, and you just really feel it. Every single action scene, every single time they're in a plane, it feels real. The sound effects are, like, perfect. You know, you really feel like you could actually just be in a plane, or at the very least, like, right next to it, listening to it, you know. And yeah, every single action scene feels gripping and potent, and you just really feel, it feels real. I think that's the big point to make. And I was comparing this film when I was talking about it to some of my friends to Multiverse of Madness, which we've termed Multiverse of Midness because we thought it was a really average movie. And one of the reasons I thought it was so average was because the action scenes, it's just CGI, you know, none of it feels like it means anything. And the contrast could not be greater between that and Top Gun, which really feels, like the action is so real and so punchy and so, so impactful, you know. And I think a big part of that is that it's practical effects. So yeah, the action scenes are absolutely fantastic. It has a really, really good plot. And so we're going to get into some spoilers here, so just be aware of that, spoiler time. But essentially the plot is very tight. It's, you know, there's no, there's a couple little subplots, but the main plot is essentially there's this mission we have to do, and the entire time we're training to do it, and then we're going to do it, you know. And there's a little curveball where he's supposed to be teaching it, and then it turns out he's actually going to fly it. So he's supposed to be teaching him how to do his mission. Turns out he actually is going to do the mission. But it's not really that big of a twist, because it's like, wow, Tom Cruise is going to be in the main action scene. Who could have seen this coming? But for the most part, like, as I said, the plot is very tight. You know, their mission is that they have to basically fly through this canyon, because they can't go too high because there's radar. They have to fly through this canyon at low altitude, strike this, like, nuclear power plant, research facility or whatever, strike it with some missiles and fly out. And it's a very, dangerous mission because they have to fly so low, and there's lots of SAM missiles and stuff, and, you know, it's unclear whether it can even be flown. And so that's basically the plot of this movie, and it's really fantastic because essentially from the start, you know what's going on, as in you know what we're trying to achieve, you know why we're doing everything we're doing, and we feel like you're getting closer and closer, you know, as their training continues and progresses, you feel like you're getting closer and closer until eventually, and then, you know, there's that kind of trough where you're like, oh, is this even possible? And then Tom Cruise flies mission and proves that it is possible, and then we have the thrilling conclusion where they actually pull off what we've been training for this entire time. And I think that it really just like works. It's such a simple plot. It's like we're trained to do something and then we do it, you know. But it just works so well because it really gives you that sense of progression throughout the entire film. And then it gives you that, you know, it's very obvious what the climax of the film is going to be. It's going to be them flying this mission. And it just works so well, you know. I like to compare it to a simple plot, say, such as, The Hobbit, as an example. It's like, we're going to this mountain and we're going to steal this thing. And you're like, well, you know, every time you move in any direction, you know, you're getting closer to the mountain. And then you know what's going to happen when you're going to get there. You're going to see a dragon and try and steal this thing. You know, it's such a simple plot, you know, and same thing with Top Gun, but it just really works, you know, because it gives you that sense of progression, and it gives you that feeling that you know what's coming, and you can get excited for it and get ready for it. But that's not to say that this movie doesn't, also do some other things. You know, there's some really nice character work. I felt like, particularly the main character work that I really enjoyed is Tom Cruise's Maverick is his call sign, I suppose. The guy he flew with in the original film, his son is like one of the pilots now, and it's about like a big part of the film focuses on their relationship, because Tom Cruise tried to stop him from flying, because his mum didn't want him to fly because it's dangerous, and so there's a bit of conflict between them, and essentially the conflict is resolved over the course of the film, and I think that's some really fantastic kind of character work, and it's really brought to life by the actors as well. Tom Cruise, you know, I don't particularly love him. He's a Scientologist and all that, but he really kind of is perfect for his role. He really kind of like melts into it, you know. And so he's great. And then the actor they got for Rooster, his friend's son, is really fantastic. And they really they portray this, this growing relationship between them, which starts very antagonistic and becomes, I suppose, grudgingly respectful, and then finishes as, you know, actually respectful and loving even, maybe. That kind of grows over the course of the film. And it's really, really fantastically done. And then, of course, there's his romance with that lady at the bar, which is, it's fine. It doesn't detract anything from the film, but I think you could perhaps argue it doesn't necessarily add much either. It's kind of just is, and it's absolutely fine. There's no problems there. So yeah, there's good relationship work being done. The visuals are absolutely, everything just looks beautiful in this film. Everything is shot like fantastically. The score, there's a couple of scenes, you know, where they put on some like 80s music or whatever. It's very similar to the first film, and they really just work, you know. And I have to say that this movie might be one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. And I guess one way I could prove that to you is that I went and saw this twice at the cinema. I don't think I've ever done that for a movie ever. But I saw it once and I was like, damn, that's good. And yeah, so I went to see it again. I'm actually considering seeing it a third time because I have another friend who hasn't seen it. And I got a film voucher for this movie theater. I'm actually thinking of going to see it again just because I feel like it's actually feels like a quick watch. I think it's actually over 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like it. It just goes, you know. It starts strong. You know, there's this fantastic scene with him, you know, like test flying a plane at the start. And I guess it's almost a little microcosm for the whole movie, which is that, like, you know, he's doing something that's supposed to be impossible, but he can do it, and then, you know, he inspires others and all that sort of thing. And it's just, I really can't gush about this movie enough. I think I will probably end the video here, so I'm just going to start, like, repeating myself and fanboying a little bit, but I really cannot recommend it enough. And honestly, if you've seen it once, maybe go rewatch it, and you'll enjoy it again. Because, yeah, it really just pops off, and I had a fantastic time. Cheers. Bye.